Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters. Natural, spiritual, however you may come. I hope that this video finds everybody well today. I'm trying to look here because I don't know. It's a lot of glare. I don't know if it's from the camera or from the screen, but either way it goes, we're good. So I'm going to try to write the screen off to see what we can do here. And that helped out a little bit. Okay, just a lot of glare. The sun is so bright here in South Florida. It's just what's happening today. I hope that this video finds, the car cam finds everybody well. I titled this Half Empty, Half Full. Half empty, half full. Before I get into the subject of this, you know that we told you that this week we are really embarking on dealing with us. I just saw a text, I wanted to address it. We are really embarking on us. And as us as an individual, here's what's happening. How do we perceive things? Your outlook determines your outcome. Your outlook determines your outcome. I always start off the videos about what this video is about, and this week and what I'm doing. I'm dealing only with the individual. A lot of studying we do, a lot of reading we do, we all do, especially coming into the truth. I just don't want you to forget about the individual person. So let's talk about what do I mean by half empty, half full, and how does that deal with yourself? So let's get into that. As an individual person, some of the things that we do, some of the things that we come across, we experience storms. We all experience storms. We all experience things that are life tragedies, whether it's death, whether it's illness, financial hardships, any of that, all of that. How you doing, Susan H? How you doing, Miss B? We all experience life issues. We all do, every day. Some of them are just the way things are, okay? They're inevitable. If you live long enough, it's inevitable. We all are going to go through our trials and tribulations. It's just the way it is. We all have to endure a period of time where we all go through a period of suffering. We go through a period of health issues, a period of financial issues. We just pray that they are so far in between the joy that we're able to sustain them, and they're not back to back. We know Job in the scriptures dealt with issues that were back to back to back to back. And we know that story, the story of Job. And when it comes to dealing with self, if self isn't dealt with, or if self is not in the right place, if self is not in the right position, mentally, spiritually, it can impact how we handle those things. And this is why self perspective, getting self together is very, very important. It's an extremely important thing to do. I'm just trying to make sure. I think my screen is a lot better now. Okay. So whether you see the glass half empty or half full has a lot to do with your reaction. It really does. If you see every situation half empty, it puts you in a different mindset of dealing with the same situation or someone else who deals with the same situation, and they're dealing it with a half full perspective. Same issue, same level, same glass, liquid at the same point. But if a person sees it as half empty compared to the person that is half full, the reaction for both individuals is different, totally different. And that's where I want to get at. That's why I titled this Half Empty or Half Full. So the question is how do you see things? How do you see it? Do you see things half empty or half full? The classification that you're in, it really is. I feel that some people that panic a lot and they see a situation and they just totally just lose it. They don't know how to handle it. They go into an outrage. They go into panic mode. They go into an environment where they make decisions that are not sound. That is a half empty individual. That's a person that is looking at that situation from a half empty perspective. Now, you can look at someone else viewing the same situation. Could be half, they can see it and it's half full. And so what do? They go into preparation mode. They go into planning mode. They go into let's prevent things from getting worse mode. Let's go into survival mode. There's no time panic. There's no time to be in an outrage. Let's do something about it mindset. That is the signs of a half empty perspective individual. How you doing, Tobiah? How you doing, Crystal? So those are individuals that see things half full. And only you know what type of person you are. Are you a person that always sees the glass half empty? Are you a person that always sees the glass half full when it gets to that mark? Okay, what do you do when it gets half empty? What do you do when it gets half full? Same level, same mark. What do you do? So the issue is in dealing with self and helping us. This is what our platform has been all week in our car cams, is just dealing with you as an individual. Whatsoever things are good, pleasant, pure, think of these things. Believe it or not, your reaction determines if you see the situation half empty or half full. Your reaction, just that simple. Okay? So let's take a situation where an individual has a car. They have insurance on that car. Okay? They have insurance. And they're driving and the car catches on fire. How you doing, Brother Michael? The car catches on fire. And it's a small fire coming from the engine. Okay? And you don't have a fire extinguisher. What you do is you look at that fire, and some people will say, wait a minute, I've got a $4,000 electric keyboard in the trunk. Okay? I have my wallet is in the front seat. And that fire is not big. And what they would do is they would quickly open the trunk, grab their wallet, pull out the keyboard in case the car just engulfs itself in flames because the fire department don't get there in time. Because remember, you have no fire extinguisher. That's what a person is going to do that sees that situation half full. They're going to say, wow, it's a small fire. I know I can't put it out. There's nothing I can do about it. I do have insurance on the car, but at least let me get some of these things out here that I'm not going to be able to replace safely and quickly. That's a half full. Another person in the same situation, but the way they think they are an individual that always sees the glass half empty, they're going to scream, holler, run. They're going to be jumping up and down. And while they're panicking, they may even forget to call the police. They just be out there stopping people, help, 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 you know. And so by the time they do call, or other people call, they wait on other people to call, the fire is now getting bigger and bigger. And then they just say, well, I don't want to get nowhere near the car. I'm screaming and hollering. And about 20 minutes later, by the time the fire department gets there, the whole car is engulfed in flames. And then you realize, wow, the keyboard is in the trunk. My wallet was in the front seat. Wow. And by the time you realize that you were doing a lot of jumping and hollering and panicking and all like that, and you could have grabbed that stuff, it's too late. All because you saw the glass half empty. So that's the two different perspectives that I show that to you, is how do you handle that? Some people can look at death the same way. You know, my mother passed away last year, and she was 85 years old. And when she passed away, she was having, you know, the symptoms of feeling weak and what have you, and she was transported to the hospital. And by the time they contacted us and we got there, my daughter had called me, and by the time I got there, she had expired. And I immediately, you know, of course you're sad. You just lost your mother. But one of the things that I did, I began to thank the Most High. Number one, wow, she was 85 years old. Wow, she said that she, because my father has passed away, most of her brothers and sisters had passed away, and she would always say, you know, son, I'm ready to go. I think it's time for me to go. It's time for me to go. And I said, no, Mom, we're here. She says, well, you don't understand. I don't have anybody. Everybody in my generation is gone. I'm 85 years old. And I would say, but Mom, you know, you got us. She says, listen, I can't live forever. She said, come on, son, I can't live forever. You know, and I barely can get up. I barely get out. You guys got to walk me on a walker. And, you know, it's just time. So I remembered those conversations. And every now and then she would have a good day. She wants to go outside and set. You know, it'd take us several minutes to get her outside. But when she passed away, I thought about how blessed she was to be at 85. I thought how blessed she was to even say that she's ready to go to sleep. And I started to thank the Almighty for all of the years that I had a great relationship with my mother. On the other hand, you could have a sibling that just loses it, just panics. What we're gonna do? And some people will start actually fighting, family fights. They panic. I've seen situations where the parent dies and the siblings will start just moving stuff out of the house, dining room sets, everything. They just start just moving stuff, grabbing stuff, and just doing all kinds of stuff. You know, you look up and the jewelry box is missing. You go inside, and I remember dealing with a group, and somebody took all of the pictures off the wall, you know, and it was, you know, to go in and fix that. It was like it took almost months to fix that. And the issues were the pictures on the wall. Everybody, because somebody panicked and they went and grabbed all the pictures. And it wasn't even one of the siblings. It was one of the in-laws, the children in-laws, one of the in-laws that was married to one of the deceased's children. Um, so I'm sitting there and it's like the photos. So I'm sitting there and I said, you know what? Why don't you all bring the photos and why don't we take them to the photo place and make photocopies and they're just like the originals. You can't tell the difference. They did. And that's what we were able to do. And that solved that whole situation. But if a person was thinking half full, they would have went in and done it that way. But because somebody went in a half empty mindset, they went into panic mode. They wanted to go in and start grabbing heirlooms and all like that. And at the end of the day, it was wonderful because it was a lady that passed away who had mostly the grandchildren. It was only like 3 or 4 grandkids that they had, and most of them were girls. It was only one grandson, 3 granddaughters, I believe. But we sit down, and I came in as a mediator with the family just to kind of get everybody back on the same page because property was easy. Okay, it was like, okay, we're gonna keep mom's house or we're gonna sell mom's house. And at that point, they said, well, you know what? Let's sell it and let's split it 4 ways. They was good with that. But the picture and the jury was just. So what we did was everybody agreed to let the grandkids pick out the jury one by one. Start with the oldest and go all the way down. The baby, the boy grandson was only like 8 months old, so they agreed let's just go with the granddaughters. Well, the granddaughters get there, and all the jury is spread out, and they were at a pretty good age where they can rightfully pick. Um, they couldn't pick. They didn't like the jury. They didn't like it. They did not like it. They just didn't like the jury. So it then went to I think the lady had, it was 3 sons. Yeah, 3 sons. 2 sons, three sons. The 3 sons decided to let their wives come in. At the end of the day, all of that. The biggest issue was when the daughter-in-law, who was married to one of the sons, came in and grabbed all the pictures off the wall. That just wasn't cool. But it ended up being okay because we took them out of the frames and the mediation went well. It went well. The furniture, nobody wanted the furniture. I think somebody took a lamp or something like that. But all of that because somebody saw the glass half empty. And when you see it half empty, you go into panic mode. Panic mode. Always see things half full. Remember, your outlook determines your outcome. If you see the situation half empty, you're going to have a half empty results. If you see the situation half full, you're almost there. That's the best way to look at it. So thank you all for tuning in. I will be back again today. Biblical T, how are you? Y'all made it back to Philadelphia. Kelly, how you doing? Canson, how you doing? Miss B, how are you doing? She says, sorry to hear. You know, my mother she was just a great person. Great person. Crystal Martin, how are you? Spiritual Combat, I'm looking forward to seeing you next weekend, my brother, coming down, bringing all of the equipment. Let me just say this before we leave. Tobiah, hoping to see you next weekend as well. Susan H. She says, I have a question. Is enzymes pork? If you're talking about enzymes, I really don't know what enzymes are. If you're talking about enzymes, which is additives in meats, meat products, um, I don't know. However, you can go to the FDA website, Food and Drug Administration website, and there are certain additives that are pork based and shellfish based. So you can go there and they will give you that information. And you can put in like certain food colorings. They have information on that. Like certain food colorings are bad for your health. The red, the blue, the red and the orange, like when you buy candy and it's red candy. So I do remember looking up that information, and I came across food additives. Like certain jellos are made from um, horses' hoofs, I believe. So 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 I just stopped dealing with Jello. Just stop dealing with it. So yeah, check that out. It may help you out answering that question. Because I know we have enzymes in our body, but I would assume that you're talking about certain meat products and stuff like that. So go to the Food and Drug Administration, and they'll be able to help you do that. So remember, see the glass half full, not half empty, same level. Your outlook determines your outcome. Peace to every one of you all. I will try to be back on in again today, but don't forget Bible study tonight at 8 o'clock. Also, if you have not registered for the Great Gathering Hebrew Conference, especially if you're here in Florida, you need to do that. You need to do that. We're going to be looking at the tickets. I know that we're way up there near our mark. So I know seating is now really, really limited. I just don't know where, because I did block off some seats for the congregation at Bethel, and they're going to have to pay me this weekend, which may or may not free up seats. It may take more seats. Um, so I left them with a certain amount that they could get, and then if I needed more, I would look at what's left over at the end of tomorrow night and absorb them. So let me tell you, get your tickets. We do have Brother Ron Dalton coming. We have Brother Akwete Amwa, Basil Amwa. We got Brother Benea Israel, and we got Brother Divine Prospect, Ron Fields out of Atlanta. Brother Divine Prospect, yes. He'll be here for both days. So we do have 4 of the top researchers of Hebrewism that's going to be here at this conference. You have an opportunity to meet all of them and speak to all of them, talk about their work and what they have done. You got Brother Benea Israel, who has hit the subject from a DNA perspective. Brother Benea Israel, who has done it from a historical perspective. Brother Akwete Amwa, who has done it from a traditional perspective, because he knows about the Dahomey, the Limbo, the Igbo tribe, the Gad tribe, and Paleo Hebrew. So you'll be able to hit him from a traditional perspective, and you'll be able to hit Brother Divine Prospect from an archaeological and an anthropological perspective of the research that he's done that has been very tight in debating a lot of people who are in the Egyptology movement. And he has stood his ground and owned and highly respected because of his research that he's done. So you're going to get this from a very broad perspective. You know, when you get it from biblical, from DNA, historical, traditional, anthropological, and archaeological, wow. If you don't know that you're a Hebrew coming out of this conference, Peace. We'll talk to you all later.